Hi, good evening. Welcome to our Tuesday night mindfulness Zen class. And tonight we will continue with a breathwork practice. Now we breathe about 23,000 times a day on average. Some people a little less and some people a little more. But the truth of it is that most of us actually breathe incorrectly. Breathing actually relies on the big, powerful muscles down here. You can't see them, but it's diaphragm, abdomen, and the intercostal muscles that lie between the ribs. So these muscles really help us to breathe deeply. Then those are the primary muscles for breathing. And it's helped along by the smaller muscles of the neck, the shoulders, and the upper ribs. So when we're stressed and upset, what happens? What do you notice usually? Your stomach sort of tenses up. And when that happens, it prevents the primary muscles, the diaphragm, the abdominal muscles, and the intercostal muscles from working. So then you're relying on your secondary, the weaker muscles, your neck, your shoulders, and your upper ribs. So when you do that for a long time, then you find that the whole thing becomes stressed, and it gets tight, fatigued, and then it leads to headaches, tiredness, and increasingly shallower breathing because you can't really use your diaphragm to breathe because it's all tensed up. So to learn how to breathe correctly is to learn how to activate our primary muscles, especially the diaphragm and the abdomen muscles, in times of stress. So what we have to do is to allow ourselves to kind of breathe correctly. This is the 12th lesson on 12th class on breathwork practice, and maybe you may wonder, why are we emphasizing breathing so much? Meditation really depends when you're doing meditation practice. That really key to it is having mindful awareness, or being able to pay attention moment to moment. And the key thing that helps us pay attention moment to moment is our breath. So there are many forms of meditation, but at its core, fundamentally, a lot of it depends on the breath, whether it's the sensation of breathing at the nose, or your heart, or your abdomen, or your diaphragm, because your breath connects you to the present moment. And if we learn how to really breathe properly, not only do we benefit immensely for our mindfulness and meditation practice, but also we learn to connect, ground ourselves within our body and with the larger reality that's in front of us. Because whenever you are aware of your breath, you are present in this moment right now. You're not flying off somewhere in your head. And I think that's really awesome, to use the American word. It's awe-inspiring, because when you think about it, the air that we breathe has been the same air for thousands and thousands, millions of years. That's the same molecules of air. The air doesn't change. We may think of fresh air, but this earth is gravity holds our atmosphere, and so it's the same atmosphere. It just gets recycled by the trees, by the soil, by water, by all living things. So if you like to think about it, and it kind of like expands your mind, that the air you breathe is the same air as the Buddha breathed, or Jesus, or William Shakespeare, or Confucius, or Lao Tzu, or any of these great people from the past, as well as your ancestors. You're breathing the same molecules of air. So that's our common connection with everyone. Every single living thing. Not only human beings, but every animal, every bird, fish, insect, worm, bacteria, plants and trees. Every single living thing breathes the same air, same molecules of air. So that's quite something to be aware of. So that's why this air that we breathe is such a precious thing, because all life depends on it. You know, when you die, you stop breathing. And the moment you stop breathing, that's when you die. So, let's start with some simple breathing exercises. The basic one that we've learned is to activate our diaphragm, our lower belly. So to help us do that, put one hand on your lower belly. If you not quite sure where it is, put your thumb just beneath your belly button, your navel, and then put your palm there with your thumb at the level or just below your belly button, and apply a little bit of pressure, and the other hand, just put it at the center of your chest, maybe your heart level. Then relax, sit upright. You don't have to be stiff. Now, you know, some people find it difficult, uncomfortable, would I say, sitting on the floor. So you don't have to. You can sit in the chair. You could also do this lying down, but when you lie down, you may not be able to feel your diaphragm or your lower belly moving quite as much. So, putting both our hands at the lower belly and middle of our chest, close your eyes. And consciously allow your shoulders and your neck to relax. And let's exhale first. Then breathe in through our nose. All our breath work is done through our nose. And allow your lower belly to expand, so your breath travels deep into your lungs. And exhale. In. Out. In. Out. Now if you find it uncomfortable to follow my pace, then go your own pace. In. Out. In. Out. Try to feel your lower belly moving. Out. In. Out. Gentle, slow breaths. In. Out. In. Out. in, out. In, out. I'm going to just stay silent. Don't worry if your mind wanders off. When you notice it, just come back and bring it back to noticing your movement of your breath again, the sensation of breathing. So you can just feel your breath. Really get in touch with it. And that's just the movement of your lower belly. Just one more cycle. Then put your hands back at the original position and just sit for a few moments. Okay, so how do you feel? Do you feel a bit calmer and more relaxed? I actually certainly do. And I do find that if I'm starting to worry about something, and if I catch that and I decide to do some rhythmic breathing, then everything starts to calm down. And if you were following my count near the beginning, I was counting about 5 seconds, 5.5 seconds in and 5.5 seconds out. Thereabouts 5 or 6 seconds. So we're doing like 6 breaths per minute. So that's the rhythm for coherent breathing. As if you've been following our breathing classes, you will know that it basically is the same rhythm as the way the body works. So it brings everything into coherence, in harmony. That's why it's called coherent breathing. The other thing that breathing at this rate does is that it activates our relaxation response. That's why that's why I felt calmer. That's why you'll probably feel calmer and more relaxed, because it stimulates this vagus nerve, and that is the thing that activates the relaxation response. Those of you who are kind of slightly nerdy in this area, then it activates what they call the parasympathetic nervous system. So there we have two autonomous nervous systems. One's the parasympathetic and one's the sympathetic. So when you face danger or threats or things that you feel are dangerous for you, whether it's actual physical or if it's some mental thing, it activates your sympathetic nervous system. That it gets your heart rate pumping. It makes you feel stressed. It releases all these stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Basically, it's your fight or flight response coming into play. And when the danger is past, then you start to breathe more slowly. Then your parasympathetic nervous system comes to play. It tells your body to slow down. There's no more danger. You don't have to get ready to fight or to run, So those are the two systems which balance our body, because we can't be in fight or flight response mode all the time, because then we just get sick. That's where all the chronic diseases come from. Hypertension, coronary heart disease, ulcers, all this kind of stuff. So that's why this rhythmic breathing, slow breathing, is very, very helpful for us. So the other thing that it helps also, and we've talked about this, it does help with a lot of our body systems. It helps us become more resilient to stress and anxiety. In fact, right at the beginning of our breathing exercise, we talked about the square breathing, which is one of the things you can do when you feel an anxiety attack come on. And it's like breathing 4 counts, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4, and breathe in 4, and do that continuously. So those are the things that you can do to activate this relaxation response. And not only that, but if you practice these breathing exercises every day, it's going to be very beneficial for you. It builds your lung capacity for one, and that's very helpful these days, especially with the pandemic going around. So let's try another exercise, which I think is kind of helpful. Let me see if you can see. If I hold my hand up here. So these exercises, some of these exercises I'm going to show you were taught by Zen Master Song San. He actually started teaching the students in America in the late 70s. And his explanation was that it helps their minds become more simple, basically helps them calm down, because even at that time he said life was already getting very complicated. Everything was moving fast, so everybody was experiencing elevated levels of stress, but that's nothing compared to now, I would imagine. So that's why he started teaching them these breathing exercises. He called these exercises Son Yu, which means Zen play. So one I find very easy and very helpful is to start with both hands on your knees. I don't think you can see my hands on my knees. Nope. But anyway, you start with both hands on your knees and you breathe, exhale out. Then as you breathe in, your arms go all the way up to the ceiling. Now try to remember to relax, okay? It's not a stiff thing like that. You know, your hands are not like stiff boards, but relax. Up, breathing in. Then when you get to the end of your in-breath, out, coming down. And what that does, it also helps to kind of expand your chest, your rib cage, so it helps to kind of actively expand the volume of your lungs. And that's very simple and it's very helpful. Okay, so let's make a start. Put both your hands on your knees, relax, loosen your shoulders. Okay, breathe out, then breathe in. Hands go all the way up. Remember, relax. Then when they finish your in-breath, out, and let them sink down. You can imagine that they're like you're in a swimming pool. Your hands float up, in, and out. In, out. In, out. In, out. And as I've said, if your mind goes off somewhere, that's okay. When you notice it, then just come back to the sensation of your breathing. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Now I'm going to stay quiet, so just go at your own pace. Few more minutes. Keep going. Doing great. Just relax into your breath. One last cycle, then allow your hands to go back to where they were originally and just sit for a couple of minutes. Okay, how is that for you? If you have any questions, please do message and I'll try and answer them. Even after this class is over, that's fine. So, learning how to breathe correctly is actually really an art. The technique itself is simple, but mastering it takes some time, quite a bit longer. And some people make it a little too complicated than it needs to be. It's actually just very simple. Just paying attention to your breath in a kind of specific way. Now, one kind of pitfall that you can encounter is that you kind of start to think about how you should feel, how your breath should be, rather than actually experiencing it directly yourself. So you find yourself doing that, then try to just feel your breath again. Just a gentle rising and falling. You can just put your, whenever you're in your daily activities, you can just take a moment just to put your hand on your lower belly and just connect with your breath again. And that really helps to build a kind of habit, which is what we really want to do, to be aware of how we breathe when we're in the midst of our daily activities. It's easier to do it when we're in this situation, but learning how to connect with our breath in our daily lives, that's where a lot of the benefits lie. Because when you meet a situation that's making you stressed out or confusing you, when you connect with your breath, then everything starts to calm down and you can see things or become clearer at what is happening in front of you. So you don't really need much to learn how to do this correctly. You just need a body and some air to breathe. That's all you need. It's very, very simple, and you can do it anywhere. So usually what I do is that when I wake up in the mornings, and I don't know if any of you have this luxury, I just stay in bed for a few minutes. I just start this kind of breathing exercise. I just put my hand on my lower belly and then take a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, just to breathe in, breathe out before I get up. And that kind of helps me get a good start to the morning, rather than jumping out of bed whenever the alarm clock goes. So we're coming to the end of our breathing practice classes. So if you want to find out more, please check out our previous videos. They're still up on Facebook, and I think when I get round to it, I'll try and sort something out and put it on YouTube. So so do practice the breathing, especially nowadays. It's very, very helpful. And if you have any questions or any comments or complaints, then please message us, and we'll try to respond as best as we can. So in the meantime, do take care, stay safe and healthy, and thank you for your practice and for joining us tonight.